Hi friends, Shayla here. So I am here to film my weekly wrap up for you. I'm technically filming this Sunday night, but I know I'm not going to be finishing anything before tomorrow, so I decided to go ahead and film it tonight. So let's talk about what I read this week. So I'm going to start with the manga and end with the books. I didn't read too many books, but I have a lot of thoughts about most of them. So I figured I would leave those towards the end and talk about the manga first. So to start out, I did do another manga NetGalley vlog early in the week. So for that video, I read Life Lessons with Uramichi Onisan Volume 1, Prince Raya Volume 4, Fly Me to the Moon Volume 3, Snow White with the Red Hair Volume 11, Love Me Not Volume 6, Beastars Volume 10, Takane and Hana Volume 16. Those are all the ones that I read for that vlog, so if you want my thoughts on those, you can definitely check out that vlog. I liked all of them except one, and that one happened to be Life Lessons of Uramichi Onisan. This one, the comedy just didn't hit quite right for me. It was a little more pessimistic than what I was looking for in that kind of a story. Granted, it's about a man in his 30s who's really unhappy with his life, so I should have known better before picking this one up. I did give it 3 stars. I thought the art was fantastic, and the concept is relatively, good. I just didn't enjoy the execution personally. So I would recommend seeing other people who've read that one and then judging it based on that, because I just know it wasn't for me. It wasn't necessarily bad, just not my thing. So the next manga-centered thing that I did is I finished 7 Princes of the Thousand-Year Labyrinth. I was gifted the first 2 of these from my girl Mel over at Mel to the NE. I picked up the remaining 2 and I finished off the series. I have to say I'm honestly really happy with the way all of this played out. It almost had that Sherlock Holmes murder mystery kind of feel to it. I don't want to say too much about this series, but it's essentially about a group of young-ish men. They're men in their 20s, I would say. Some might be a little bit younger, but they're trying to figure out who the next king or emperor will be out of these men. And so it's kind of this, they have to get out of this challenge together kind of situation. So it's like a maze and a labyrinth and a murder mystery. There's a lot going on with it, but it's really fun. It's only 4 volumes long, and I would recommend checking it out. This is a josei title, so it is geared towards adult women, but I think it's enjoyable for anybody of adult age. There is some pretty gruesome things in this one, so it might not be okay for some of the younger people, but I handled it okay, and I'm pretty much a wimp, so you can gauge it on that. I also read volumes 4 and 5 of My Love Story. This is a manga series that I've slowly been collecting, but I really love and enjoy. I really should get to collecting the rest of this one. It's been out for a while and finished for a while, so I'm not sure how much longer it's going to be in print. So I do need to track down the volumes before it goes out of print. But I continue to really love this. It's about this big guy, Takeo, and him getting a girlfriend and his romantic relationship with her. It is so sweet and so cute. I love it oh so very much. This is his good-looking best friend, where the girls would be friendly to Takeo and he would get feelings for them, but they were really just getting close to him to get to him. And so it's really cute to see Takeo get his own sweet little girlfriend. This is her on the back. Anyways, this is so cute. There is an anime, but I enjoy both the reading experience and the watching experience on this one, so I think you can choose either and end up pretty happy. And then last but not least for the manga, I read the final volume of Hatsuharu. This was kindly gifted to me by Christy over at Christy Lou. She'll be linked down below. And the end of this series was very rewarding for me. I ended up really, truly, and genuinely enjoying it. There's a conflict kind of here towards the end involving our main couple that I think ends up playing out in a very healthy and realistic way. And I was just really pleased with how it all went down. And it just made my heart very, very happy. And it's open-ended enough that if the mangaka ever decided to revisit these characters, they could. But man, I really just enjoyed this. It was a little more open-ended than I hoped, of course, but I love the HEA, the full wrap-up, but the way they wrap it up, I think, is very realistic, and I'm very pleased with it. So, Hatsuharu, good, solid series all the way through. 13 volumes long, definitely recommend. Alrighty, that is it for the manga. Let's move into the books. I'm gonna save my favorite for the week for last, because I'm gonna fangirl quite a bit. So first up, I'm going to start with the shortest title on this list, and that is Guiding Light. This is a short story that takes place in the same universe that includes Shadow's Hand. That was an indie book that I got earlier this year for kind of like promo and for review, and I really enjoyed it. And I recently got a package for the second book in the series, and it included this short stories. It takes place around like a winter solstice kind of celebration. It's really cute. It's like 35 pages, but it's like a prequel to the characters in this story, and I just really enjoyed it. So if you like the universe already, like, I think it's worth a read. Next, we have the other kind of Christmassy book that I did this week, and that is the 12 Dates of Christmas by Jenny Bayliss. Now, I thought this was really cute and really sweet. If you liked 10 Blind Dates, which is a YA story, I really think you'll like the 12 Dates of Christmas. It's a very similar kind of premise. We're just dealing with adults and not teenagers. So some of the over dramatics of that one don't play into this one, though this doesn't have as strong of a family element, but I still really enjoyed this. I thought it was a lot of fun. Kate is a really sweet character and you're rooting for her. It's pretty obvious who she'll end up with, just like with 10 Blind Dates, but I do think it's a fun reading experience, a great holiday fun one, and I would recommend checking it out. All right, up next, I read Love in the Wild by Emma Castle. I buddy read this with my girl Lindsay over at Lindsay Tut. This is a Tarzan retelling. Now, for a Tarzan retelling, it hit all the important Tarzan beats. And I almost think it hit them a little too well, if that makes sense. I ended up giving this book 4 stars. I felt like it was lacking some of the depth that I was hoping for in this retelling. With the way people talk about it, I think I just went in with my expectations a little bit high, I guess, is I just wanted a little more from it. I wanted a little more meat. I wanted a little more substance. I even wanted a little more time in the jungle. I felt like, though the pacing of the book felt okay reading it, upon reflection, I really think we needed to spend a little more time in the jungle so that Thorn and Eden could spend a little more time together to solidify their bond before we're moving into everything else, because it kind of feels a little less realistic with the amount of time that they spend. I will mention there is a small like magical realism element that ties in towards the end, so that might not be everybody's thing, so I wanted to put that out there. I don't know, I haven't read the original Tarzan story, so I don't know if it's present in that, but it was definitely present here. Now, Thorn is a character I absolutely love and adore him, want to protect him. I love Thorn. And Eden is solidly great as a Jane character as well. Not as bookish as I hoped she would be, of course, but she was still very intelligent, very smart, and very tenacious, which is what I really enjoyed about Eden's character. And she already had a love of the jungle built in, and the way this all went down was really good. Even like the poacher element to it was really well done. So this book wasn't bad, I just wanted a little more, which is why it got a 4. Because it was still good. I would still recommend this book. And I even have a little tab here of something that just stood out and was beautiful to me. So, yes, I do recommend checking out the book, especially if you like kind of that wild man, he's innocent, he was a virgin hero kind of a situation. If you like those kinds of things, definitely try this one. Up next is A Deal with the Elf King by Elise Kova. I also gave this book 4 stars, and I think what it comes down to is this read more like a YA than an adult for me, and I don't know if it's technically marketed as YA. I didn't do my research on that, but you know, this was pitched as kind of like the Cruel Prince for grown-ups kind of a thing, at least to me. Really, sir? You have to do that right now? Are you done? Are you done now? Thank you. So this book isn't bad at all. I really enjoyed my time with it, but I don't think it was properly marketed. I would not compare this to The Cruel Prince at all. It doesn't have that dark, cruel undertone to it that you would expect from something compared to the Cruel Prince by Holly Black, I mean. But this had a lighter feel to it. Somebody had told, I buddy read this with Crystal over at Crystal's Bookish Life, and somebody had told her that if you had ever like thirsted after, I want to say his name's Eldaron from Lord of the Rings, like the fairy, like the elf king guy, then this guy will give you all those kinds of feels. He has kind of an alpha mellow feel to him where he is very protective of our female character Luella, but you know, he melts pretty quickly for her, and there are reasons for that. So let's get into the actual meat of the story and what this is about. So we're following Luella. Luella's a human woman who has lived in this village her entire life, and once every 100 years, the human queen is chosen from her town. So she's just doing her duty. Her village had sent her off to like medical school essentially so she could get trained and certified, and so she's basically kind of the village doctor and village healer at this point. Anyways, our King Eldis, the king of the elves, ends up showing up to get his human queen, and he finds out that someone who has been suppressing her powers for years, which is why they hadn't been able to find her, and things are much more destitute than they should be. And so she then goes to live in a place called Midscape, which is the place where King Eldis lives. And she's there to serve the purpose of the human queen. And I'm not going to tell you the reasons for that, but they are spoilery. And this is a romance between King Eldis and Luella. And I really enjoyed their dynamic. It reminded me more of Uprooted by Naomi Novik in the feel of it than it did The Cruel Prince, by far. He's not nearly cruel enough to be like Cardan. So I'm going to put that out there right now. Do not compare Eldis to Cardan because it just won't work. But you don't have any weird, funky things going on like some people get put off with Uprooted. Like, everything's kosher, above board. They're married. He is a little bit forceful with certain things in the beginning, but he definitely gives her as much freedom as he can once they're in Midscape. And the world is really interesting in this. The writing is fantastic. I'm definitely going to be checking out other Elise Kova books. But I do think the marketing on this book is wrong. Don't compare this to The Cruel Prince at all. Like, it is a great fantasy romance light. It does get a little bit smutty towards the end, but it's more like fade to black, not much on page, behind closed doors kind of things, just insinuated. And I would have liked a little more on-page sexy time. Let's be real, I'm me. But I still really enjoyed my time. There were some really poignant lines. Like I say, I really enjoyed the writing, so I've got my little gold tabbies there. So I will definitely be trying more Elise Kova, that's for sure. I'm definitely going to be exploring her backlist a little bit more. I know her Alchemist of Loom series got a lot of hype when I first started BookTube years ago. So I definitely need to go check out their backlog. But I would recommend trying this one out. I think it's a lot of fun, but I would compare this more to like Radiance by Grace Draven even than The Cruel Prince. Because you have two people who are forced into a situation and they start as friends and they become more, and there's a little bit of pining on Eldis' side, which I'm okay with. It's not obnoxious pining, it was good. And there was kind of a reason for that, and it's all explained in the book. But I really enjoyed it. Solid 4, highly recommend. You know, and I might have given some of these higher ratings had I not read this book this week. So the majority of my reading week was sucked up by the madness of Lord Ian Mackenzie. I love this book. This might be my favorite book of the year, which is why I always tell people don't do your lists until January. 9 times out of 10, I find at least one book in the month of December that I end up loving and putting on my favorites of the year list. This book did things to me in a really good way. I really love this. Ian and Beth are just amazing together. So we have Lord Ian Mackenzie, who in this day and age, we would say he is on the autism spectrum. But obviously in times like this, people don't know what to do with him. So he spent years in an asylum. His father put him there for seeing something he shouldn't have seen and suffered many cruel consequences because of that. But once his father has passed, his eldest brother pulls him out and tries to give him a good life. And some things happened in the past, and they're both very protective of each other, he and the eldest brother. So when Ian's friend or acquaintance comes bragging about how he's planning on proposing to the widow, Beth, oh, I want to say it's Ackerley, not Ashford. So she's the widow Ackerley. She married a vicar when they were very young, and he died very young. And then she became a companion to an elderly woman. And this elderly woman, when she passed, left her fortune to Beth. And so Ian's acquaintance wants to use Beth's money. And so Ian wanted to meet her to see if she was worth warning or trying to save. And then when they meet, he immediately senses that she's wonderful and that she quiets a part of him that he can't quiet otherwise. And so he wants her for himself. And so he is nuts and crazy and protective of Beth from the word go. And it is such a beautiful journey for the two of them, because Beth doesn't understand a lot of Ian's tendencies, but she's patient with him and tries to understand him. And it's so beautifully done. Like, I cried more than once with this book. Their love is beautiful. It's palpable. This book is way sexier than I was even expecting it to be. This book is everything I want in a historical romance. I have a heroine and a hero that I love and adore and that I would protect with my whole heart and soul. And then I've got great interest and intrigue. There's like this murder mystery thing surrounding them. And it's beautiful. I love it so much. And there's so much about this to love. And I could just go on for hours about this book. I'm not going to on this video, but I definitely could. So if you've been sitting on the madness of Lord Ian Mackenzie and you have similar reading taste to me, I highly recommend picking up this book. I read it slowly because I didn't want it to be over. I loved this. I did read it all physically. I didn't do the audio on this one. I know some people love the audio and some people were put off by the audio. So you can try the audio if you want, but I honestly enjoyed my reading experience of this. I kind of want to pick it up and read it again and like tab it and annotate it and all those kinds of things. I'll probably do a reread sometime next year of it, but I absolutely loved and adored this, and I highly recommend checking it out. So friends, that's everything I have to say in this video. Let me know in the comments down below what you got read this week, and are you excited for Christmas? It's in like a few days. It's so exciting. We're even by my tree. So I hope you guys have a fabulous day, and I will see you guys tomorrow.